Mike Moore Media, the first place to hear Rockingham County news and information.
Our program is sponsored by Carter's Auto Repair and Exhaust. On our media line, Neville Hall, the mayor of Eden. Mayor, hey, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, Mike, and I hope you are.
I'm doing just great. Well, we had regular monthly city council meeting Tuesday night and covered a lot of ground on that. Then you had a special meeting last night, a little long, but still talking about the budget. It's that time of the year, isn't it?
That's right. The Tuesday night portion of the meeting that dealt with the budget was the budget message that's presented by the city manager. It's basically a summary of the budget, and then it gives the opportunity for us to, or anybody actually, there's a copy of the budget at City Hall, but especially the council to go through the budget, and if you have any questions or anything, that's what we came back on Thursday night with the budget workshop. So back in February, we had a budget retreat to itemize the priorities for this year's budget, and the manager's been working on it for a couple of months, and now he's presented a budget to the council, and then we met last night to ask questions and give suggestions and things if there were changes we'd like to see in the budget. Then the next step is to have a public hearing and vote to approve the budget if so desired in the next meeting.
Yeah. Well, I was impressed with our new city manager's his first budget with his message Tuesday night. No new property tax increase, no increase in water and sewer fees, so that's always good for residents. Yeah,
contrary to a lot of people's the rumor mill, we haven't raised the water and sewer rates since 2016. So the water bill, if your water bill is higher than normal, it's because you used more. It's not because it costs more per gallon.
Yeah, and the property taxes, 13th consecutive year without an increase.
13 years, you're right. So yeah, I think we're doing what we can, and we're trying to hold the line on anything as far as increasing expense to the citizens. And our department heads and actually all the employees do a good job doing their best to maintain the status quo with the cost of things.
Sure, yeah. It's got to be difficult in these times. But anything in your longer meeting last night to look a little bit closer at the budget that came out we need to talk about?
Well, I think one important change this year as opposed to what we've done in the past is Mr. Mendenhall had asked and worked with the departments to create a 10-year capital improvement plan, itemizing each department things that they foresee equipment-wise that they're going to have expenses over the next 10 years. And we spend a lot of time talking about that because we'll have some debt service stuff that we get paid off. We can start a fund to try to buy things as we go, as long as we know that, in 4 years we're going to need, 2 more trucks and a lawnmower or whatever. If you start planning for it, and of course things can change instantly with equipment, but you start planning for it, it makes it a lot easier when you need a fire truck if you've been saving for it for the past 9 years. So
yeah,
that's what that was a good change to the budget this year, I think.
Well, he did say we're taking capital improvement out, and it's a kind of a, as you said, pay-as-you-go plan. Yeah, and you've got some things in place. You've got some things in place now that the financing continues, and when that's taken care of, then that'll be out of the way too.
Yeah, that'll free up some debt, and you can, instead of paying it, the interest and payment you've been making, you can put it in savings for when you need another vehicle or whatever.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention when we're talking about funds, Mark Bullens, Water and Sewer Construction Projects Manager, talked about, of course, this was a new business. You did approve the a little extra money there on top of a grant that's already in place for that new MGM pump station. So some discussion on that Tuesday night, but it's something that's been in the works for a while. Looks like that's moving forward now a little bit better.
Yeah, and I mean the grant was $900,000 roughly, and the total cost ended up being about $1 million, maybe $1,050,000. So we're getting a very large project for a small percentage of the total cost, and it's a need for the sewer pump station. So we needed it, and we were able to go out and get all the funding there for it. And then back when we got that grant, that's probably what it would have cost to do it. But now that the cost of the construction and everything has increased a bunch in the last year for residential, commercial, industrial, all of them are up. So
Yeah.
I think that's what led to having to approve a little bit more money out of the budget for that construction. But still, it's a bargain when you get that much work done for that price.
Sure. Well, I think you approved around $115,000, and it's like $1 million project, you said. So that's a deal.
It is. It's what we needed, and we were fortunate to get a grant. So
yeah,
we're glad to be moving forward after about a year of looking at it.
And that's down. Is that on New Street? Is that right? Down that area?
It's at the end of New Street.
At the end of New. Okay. Kelly Stoltz, Director of Planning and Community Development, talked about the downtown master plan, small area plan, and that looks good. First, for Uptown Eden, as we know it as historically as Old Leaksville, and looking at $8,000 now for that, and then Draper, and that's in this year's budget, and Draper, and then the Boulevard eventually too.
Yeah, that the comprehensive plan that we approved a month ago for the entire city is an overview, a broad overview of transportation and sidewalks and infrastructure and all the things that you try to plan ahead for. And within that comprehensive plan, there were add-on options, like what we're talking about for a specific area where they can dig down deeper and find out specifically what that particular area would need. And Leaksville is the first one that we're experiencing, pressure for development at this time. So we went ahead and contracted with the consulting group while they're here to get started on the master plan, to go ahead and get started on the old Leaksville Uptown district and look at parking situations and that kind of thing, and see if there's some ways to relieve the pressure that the parking and stuff has been put on that area. So, And then, of course, like you said, the intention is to do Draper area, the same thing next, and then hopefully the Boulevard after that.
Yeah. So looking at parking primarily, and then maybe sidewalk improvements, and maybe a lighting plan down the road somewhere for Uptown Eden. Yeah.
Yeah, and beautification. So they'll look at does it make sense to have plant boxes and things. A lot of cities have it jut out in between parking spots like a tree. So just they'll present some plans to the merchants and work with them and get their input and see if they can all come to an agreement on a plan that the city can try to get going in those areas.
Yeah, and it's a working together too. You mentioned property owners and merchants and just everybody in the city working together to kind of put those plans together. What's best? That's good. That's good.
Right.
Okay. All righty. Well, those are some of the things that I had made some notes on when we talked. Anything else we need to mention, Mayor?
Well, in the meeting last night, we decided we think this is a wise move to move forward with this project, where there are some of the sewer pipes that's part of the EPA administrative order that we've been working on all over the city.
Oh, yeah.
There are actually some pipes that go. They're on Henry Street and they go under Washington Street. And as you may or may not know, on May the 10th, they're going to start paving Washington Street. So Mark Bullins came to us and asked us if instead of waiting till it's the Henry Street's turn to do that, if we could go ahead and move that up into this contract and do that, which makes good sense, because you don't want to cut up brand new pavement to run the line under it. So yeah, we bumped that piece of the project up, it's still just the same as having to wait, but it just we needed it done before the road's paved. So
sure, yeah,
we're going to get that done. And then we also, there wasn't a vote last night. It was just a council consensus that we'd like to see the crosswalks after DOT paves the road. They go back with those just white crosswalk stripes and you see all over the place.
yeah.
But we were in favor of not going backwards, not going to that, but coming back with some sort of decorative crosswalks throughout the uptown Eden. So we're going to be looking at some of those and getting input from the property owners and merchants on what they'd like to see there.
Okay. Sometimes look like pavers of some kind.
That's what's there. Yeah, that's what's been there for about 15 years now.
Yeah.
When they pave over top of it, we're going to lose those because they're going to ground up the road that's there.
So you're looking at something different then?
That's going to be, I think, the decision of the merchant group.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it will be slightly different. I've heard some people already that would say they'd like to see a change.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You mentioned the sewer pipes and Henry, Washington. You know, there wasn't that the area that not too many years ago there was a drainage issue there, and there on the corner there at the park. Did that ever get resolved?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, right there on that corner is where my wife's business is, and there had been times in the past where the drains just could not take the amount if we had a heavy rain coming down the hill, and it would come in the back of their building.
Yeah.
But that was on rare occasions. But they have replaced the drains, and we haven't seen an issue there in a long time. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think just adding some. They added a little bit higher curbing and replaced some of the drains. So right there hadn't been an issue with it.
Okay. Well, you mentioned so paving will start on Washington Street May 10th, if weather permits, because I know they were a little delayed on the Kings Highway project, but that's looking good.
They are moving right along on that one.
They really are.
Sure. Every time I go through town or one direction or the other, it seems like they're about to finish another lane. So that's a good. I mean, I know that it's a inconvenience for people to have to go travel around these, but it's worth it when they get done and you got a nice smooth road. So
yeah,
just gotta be patient with them.
Yeah, I ran out to do a quick lunch run, drive through on Kings Highway, and it's challenging to try to do all that. Now, when they do Washington Street, will they just? How do they? That's going to be even more challenging to get all the cars off. How do they do that?
From what I understand, they're going to try to do most of that at night.
Oh, are they? Okay.
And I mean, it's going. I mean, you can go up one more block. It'll put a lot of traffic on J Street, but if it's at night, maybe there won't be much traffic, and they get through pretty quick. I mean, I'm sure they'll have a larger crew than they would if they were just paving a residential street, so they can get it done quicker. But it's going to be nice to be paved on Kings Highway all the way around through Washington Street, all the way out to the other end, to outside of town. So.
Oh, that's going to be so nice. Yeah, we dare anybody to cut that pavement for any reason.
Well, I hope we don't have to cut any. That's why we moved that project ahead a little bit. So
yeah.
We saw that one coming.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, Mark Bullins did, so I was glad that he came to us and asked for that. So
sure.
Not cut that brand new pavement.
Right. Okay. Well, anything else, Mayor?
I think we've covered most of it. We had 2 meetings this week, very productive, and one of the obviously most important things we do all year is approve a balanced budget, thankfully, and so we're in the middle of that and just moving along.
Okay. Well, we'll move along, too, and wrap it up. Mayor, thank you. Always great to get your perspective on things. I appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Mike. You too.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Neville Hall, the mayor of Eden. Our program is sponsored by Carter's Auto Repair and Exhaust. Quality work, affordable prices. Charles Carter has been in this business for over 30 years. He has all the qualified mechanics specializing in exhaust, custom and stock exhaust. They do a great job there for you at Carter's Auto Repair and Exhaust on Kings Highway in Eden.